we do have a little bit of Trotz Watch information coming out of who else? Elliotte Friedman. And this is an interesting quote. It doesn't think the Jets have interviewed anyone else, and it really does seem like the organization is all in on Barry Trotz. Here it is. I'll just read this for you straight up from 32 Thoughts. It's hard to say how long everyone is willing to wait, but several coaching sources said things are gummed up while Barry Trotz's future unfolds. Trotz has informed interested teams he won't rush, making sure his next NHL stop is best for him and his family. It's difficult to predict the timeline. What's also difficult to predict is how long some of his pursuers wait before asking another date to the prom. Some teams aren't in a huge hurry, as there are a lot of good candidates and not all are available as of yet. Several of them have begun interviewing other potential hires, but I'm not sure anyone is close. Here's the key bit about the Jets. I do believe Winnipeg is very, very serious about Trotz, to the point I'm not convinced they've done detailed interviews with anybody else. He's also believed to have communicated with Dallas, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Vegas. And another bit on that, and this sort of comes from some conversations we've had, and it's been reported, elsewhere, that Scott Arniel is very much in the mix. They're sort of pumping the brakes on that, saying that Scott Arniel could end up with the Jets, but it's not a guarantee. And I'm not sure, certainly from what I'm hearing, that maybe things are as far down the road as maybe appeared from some other folks, but certainly Arniel is a guy that is greatly respected from people in the organization, has great experience, did a hell of a job as Manitoba Moose head coach, has NHL experience, has been on the bench for a number of years as an assistant and associate coach. I'm sure he would be in the mix, but from all accounts right now, Remis, it really does sound like it's all about Barry Trotz. And if that doesn't come to fruition, they certainly have those other plans, but I don't think they're spending a lot of time on those plans right now, hoping that they get the guy at the top of their list.
Yeah, this was a bit surprising to see. I got to be honest. I loved Elliott's use of the term gummed up. I think I first heard that in like FUBAR in 2002, where like Diener's like, oh, it's all gummed up, referring to something. So I got to give a shout out there. This was interesting. Seems like the Jets are AI all in on Barry Trotz. I'm not sure how that's going to go. Yeah, pushing the chips all in. And we did hear that does go with what LeBrun said earlier this week, full court press for Barry Trotz. So, I mean, if they don't land him, I'm curious about that, but they're kind of banking on being the home province, being a great situation for him. So Dallas, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Vegas interested. So, I mean, we can cross our fingers. I don't know if they're putting on such a all-in. Why hasn't he decided yet? Like, what's the issue that he's hung up on? Is it the weather, or is it, making sure that that is the best for him and his family?
Well, yeah, I mean, you gotta explore all of your options before you make a decision. I mean, I think he's probably pretty clear that the Jets are serious and what they have on the table and what they would, the things that he was looking for in this next job. I'm pretty sure they put their best foot forward and done that. But as he said, he was going to be thorough with this. He was going to talk to people, find out that where it makes the most sense for him. And certainly the Winnipeg Jets are hoping that the lure of coming back to Manitoba and everything that they've discussed, has him interested and makes him make the next coach. Here's some other things. So Rob Mahoney, excuse my confusion, how is Arniel a lock then? I'm not sure that he is at this point. I guess that's what I'm telling you right now, and certainly hearing that from Elliotte Friedman today. Let's see, we'll place Barry. Some people do believe that Arniel would be an associate coach, and I could certainly see it working. I think the first thing that needs to happen, though, is Barry Trotz getting hired, if that is the case, or the other head coach, and move on from there. We will see. Big guy, if Trotz is the only one interviewed by Jets, does that mean the Jets are confident they will get their man? Listen, I can't speak to their level of confidence right now. I think that if they were less than confident about it, they might be moving a little bit more in other directions. And I think they know that they still might have to do that. I don't know about you, Reem, but I think they probably do feel like they've got a very good chance of landing Barry Trotz. And at this point, that's their number one priority. And there is still some time. I mean, we are still over a month away from the National Hockey League draft. I certainly think that draft would be, you'd like to have your coach in place by then. And if it's, shortly before that, obviously I don't think that's going to change what the scouts and the organization is doing, getting ready for the picks. The big thing about the head coach, though, Reem, especially with this club right now, there's potentially some big moves that could happen with some pretty key players in this offseason. And especially if you're bringing in a guy like Barry Trotz that has an interest in management, that, would have some sort of say in it. I think you definitely want to get that done and have him involved in some of those decisions going forward if you're going to make some potential franchise-changing trades involving top players at big money.
Yeah, that's a good point. The draft, July 7 and July 8 in Montreal, so just over a month away, as you mentioned. So there is still some time to get a head coach in place before then. And if we do see some franchise-altering moves or some big changes, I would think a head coach would want to know what he's getting into before he accepts the job. And someone like Barry Trotz, that we've heard, wants to be in management. I think he would want to have a say in that too, what types of players come in. So we do have time, as much as we want this to happen immediately. But it seems like he's weighing all his options. And we mentioned the teams involved. I mean, there could be even more suitors as well. Maybe we're speculating if there was a change in Florida. So that is the latest from Elliotte. The one thing that did surprise me, considering we talked earlier about Arniel being a near lock, sounds like that may not be the case, according to what Elliotte is saying here.
Yeah, listen, it sounds like there's a little bit of pushback on that. Listen, that doesn't rule anything out. But at the same time, I mean, I think that, it may have been a little premature right now. We'll see how that shakes out. Anyways, we'll talk about this with Rewucki.
Yeah, it's a good strategy until it doesn't work, and then you're kind of left with nobody there at the altar with you. So we'll see. But I'm still remaining pretty steadfast on where I thought this is going to go, a few weeks ago. Like, nothing's really changed. If anything, it's been a little bit more optimistic on Winnipeg's side of things. But I think Winnipeg is still the clear front runner to land Barry Trotz as their head coach. The Scott Arniel report that came out as well, I don't really view that as a negative either, because Arniel worked as part of Barry Trotz's staff in the past with the Capitals, I believe. I think right now, I would maybe even lean a little bit towards, I would be surprised if the Jets didn't land Barry Trotz. I do think that the Flyers would be the one team that could swoop in and pull him away if they offer some crazy number on a salary and they're offering him $2-3 million more per year than what Winnipeg is planning to offer. But you look at the whole package, the Jets have a talented roster. I think they're going to pay Trotz and compensate him fairly well. And it sounds like maybe they, more than a lot of other teams, are going to offer him a piece of pie when it comes to management. And it's his home province, right? Like, if this is going to be his last stop, why not make it super close to home? So, yeah, I don't think anything's changed for me. And like I mentioned, if anything, it's been strengthened a bit by the fact that Elliotte Friedman kind of hinted that, Winnipeg is maybe themselves believing that they've got this one closer to the finish line.